Hello everyone, today we're pouring my Cranberry Oatmeal Stout. I'm really excited. It's been a long time since I've brewed this beer. It's been about 10 years, over 10 years potentially. The last time I brewed it too, I used cranberry flavoring. This time around I used real cranberries. It's a very complex beer and I love it, and I think it's great in the springtime. Why not drink stout in the spring? I think it's a great idea. So let's get to it, let's pour it and see how it is. That looks great. It's got a nice head on it. It's dissipating a little quicker. I think it's a little thinner, and I think it has to do with how much cranberry juice actually ended up in there. I really made sure I got every bit of that 5 pounds of cranberries in there. It's really dark. Oh, it's got coffee, chocolate, cranberry. So it's really complex. It's a really interesting flavor. Oh. It's been such a long time. I'm gonna have to get some people to try this out. Some friends and family that haven't had this in many, many years. So get some other opinions, as I don't brew it that often, but I love it. And I think it's great for the springtime. So here we are. Let's go get a good look at it in the light, and then we'll get straight to how I did it. Here we go.
You can see that red color with the chocolate. It's a little thinner. That carbonation is dissipating quickly. But it's very refreshing. Tastes great. Just thinner than you would expect from a stout. And I think it's because of all of that cranberry juice.
The sugar in that juice is also 100% fermentable. My ABV ended up about 5.8%, which was higher than I planned, but I'm okay with that.
Still figuring this one out, but I can't stop drinking it. It tastes great. Chocolate, cranberry.
All right, y'all, it's brew day. Let's do it. Today we're gonna be brewing Cranberry Oatmeal Stout. In goes the Maris Otter Pale Malt. That's 10 pounds. Here goes another 5 pounds of Maris Otter Pale Malt. That's a total of 15 pounds of Maris Otter. 1 pound of red wheat. Two pounds of chocolate malt. 2 pounds of dark roasted. All right, I've got all my grain milled, so I'm ready to go. We're gonna get right to it and get into the mash. Here goes the Maris Otter. The rest of the Maris Otter and the red wheat. And here goes the flaked oat. All right, stick around because I'm gonna mash this and I'm gonna add my dark chocolate and dark roasted grain at the end of mash, because I'm not gonna get any conversion out of those grains anyway for fermentable sugar. So I'm just gonna add it at the end because I just want the color and the flavor. So I'm shooting for anywhere between 152 to 155 degrees for this mash. I don't want a very strong beer for my stout. And when I add the cranberry, that's going to add a lot more fermentable sugar as well. And I'll do that at the end of boil. So this is where we're at. And we're going to mash for an hour. All right. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. Temperature maintained from 154 and dropped down to about 152. So that's good. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to add my dark roast and my chocolate roast and let it go for another 30 minutes and just make sure I get a full conversion of everything. So let's do it. That smells fantastic. Rich and chocolatey. Foam's nice and brown. Just showing us what is to come. This is going to be great. I'm really excited. Okay, I've just finished mashing out, which is I raised the temperature up to 165 degrees and let that go for about 10 minutes. And that's just to totally end the conversion process, lock it in, and get ready to drain to my cook kettle. So I'm going to drain to my cook kettle. This has a false bottom in it. If you were doing this just using your same pot for your mash tun and your cook kettle, you would use a mash bag or something to put your grain in, which is just something like this, just like a nylon bag. And you would have your grain in there, and you would just pull it out and squeeze and drain everything back in to the kettle so that you could cook it, boil it. But I have a false bottom in here, so I just drain it out into my other kettle, and then I will sparge or rinse the grain, and I'm about to do that. So let's start draining. I like to always take a first pull off of this. Any sediment that made its way through the false bottom, I don't want it to just go right into the cook kettle here. So do that. You can see how dark and rich that is. Smells great. I'm gonna drink that. I drink it in between every stage. So, got my tube. Just put that guy in there. Hook it up. Just silicone tubing. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, that's mostly drained out. So now I'm gonna sparge or rinse the grain. I just pour the water right over top of the grain and around as gently as possible. I don't have a nice sparge top that is, equipment that would spray it gently over the top and slowly rinse it. So I don't worry about it. I just rinse it. I'll gently poke holes if it gets stuck a little bit. It can get caked on there. And I don't like to disturb it too much, but I want to rinse every bit of sugar out of there. So, all right, well, I will finish that up and we'll get right to cooking, to the boil. Okay, we are almost to a boil. At this point, I always turn the heat way down and show you at the point that it starts to boil, because it's really important that you don't boil over. It's a huge mess. You don't want to deal with it. I talk about it all the time because I've been through it. So I just wanted to show you how it goes. And right now it is just starting to come to a boil. And we want that to happen very slowly, or the proteins come out, it will foam, it will boil over, and it's a massive mess. So it's just about to start to go now. All right, it's starting to bubble. Slow roll and boil right now. That rich color stout. Smells amazing. All right, well, that was very smooth. So, all right, 30 minutes of boil, and then I will put in all my hops. And for a stout, I will just use the hops primarily for bittering. So I will come back and add the hops in 30 minutes. Okay, we've been boiling for 30 minutes, so now I'm going to add my bittering hops, which is 2 ounces of Kent Golding and 1 ounce of Cascade. So let's go ahead and get that added. I'm going to do it slow so it doesn't boil over. That can happen when adding the hops as well. Oh, it smells great. All right, 30 more minutes of boiling, and don't go far because we're going to be adding the cranberry at the end of the boil. Okay, I'm going to process the cranberries to make sure that they're broken up really good. I've already frozen them, so that helps break the cell walls down too as well. And these are whole cranberries. Here we go. Okay, a couple pinches of Irish moss as a hot side finding to help the protein settle out. Seems appropriate for a stout that I'm going more for an Irish take on it. Okay, I'm adding just a ½ ounce of Motueka, if I'm pronouncing that properly. I always say it wrong, I think, but just a little extra hops just in the last 5 minutes of boil, a little citrus in there. I like it with the cranberry and the stout. Okay, now it's time for the cranberries. In they go. I'm doing this at the very end of the boil. I don't want to cook them. I just want to make sure they're plenty sanitized, and this will stay in for the cooling process and the transfer to my fermenter. So I want to maintain the flavors as much as possible. If you cook them too long, you'll lose the flavor. So I just want them clean. All right, that's it. Now we'll cool the beer down and move on to move into the fermenter. There we go. Woo! Look at that dark stuff. All right. I'm going to aerate it. 5 pounds of cranberries. Hopefully that's enough. Okay, I'm going to take my gravity reading. Well, I'm going to take my sample so I can take my gravity reading. Now I'm going to pitch my yeast. All right. That looks really dark, and there's a hint of red to it as well. All right, let's do it. A little sanitizer. And this is Imperial Darkness, so it's supposed to be a little bit more on the Irish end of a stout. I've never used it before. Looks great. I'm doing 400 billion cells. That doesn't matter too much. So I'll add some water to my airlock, and I'm gonna let it go for 2 weeks. All right, what a great brew day. Okay, it's time. The ferment is complete, so I'm gonna keg it up. Let's get right to it. Okay, I've got my 2 kegs sanitized, cleaned, ready to go. They're full of CO2 right now, so to keep oxygen out, I will release it and fill it, and then that cloud of CO2 will come out, so I don't oxygenate the beer as it's going in. There we go. As you can see, that's to the very brim. That was pretty dangerous there, taking that off like I just did, but that is certainly 12 gallons there. So I shoot for 11. I'm going to run some off through the racking arm that should be above the yeast bed, and I get any little bit of carbonation or yeast that might be in that tract out of there first. I'll take a sample for gravity. I'm going to rest this over to the side, and I'll get my gravity reading later, and then I'll drink that, get a nice sample. It's warm, it's not carbonated, but it's still a good indicator of how well it turned out. I didn't video it, but when I was filling my fermenter, I thoroughly squeezed the grain bags, the hop grain bags that I had all the cranberry in. I got every little last bit of juice out of it. Hopefully I didn't overdo it. I know that all that sugar is going to 100% be fermentable, but we'll see what the ABV ends up turning out. But I wanted to get every last bit of that cranberry juice into the ferment. So, because I really do want the cranberry character. Once again, with that, hopefully I didn't overdo it, and it's not too overpowering of cranberry, but I like the cranberry because it is a little bit bittering and it's not as sweet as other fruit, and it adds a really nice touch. It smells very rich, chocolatey. That nice dark, rich, chocolatey oatmeal stout with the cranberry really helps. So let's get to filling. A little sanitizer. I like to lift it up to keep it elevated at the beginning part so it doesn't splash too much, even though I can see that CO2 cloud in there. I just really do not want oxidation. So far, it's looking and smelling great. You can see how dark and rich that is. All right, that keg's almost done filling up. Then I'm going to fill up my second. My second one I'm probably going to put in a little longer term storage, and my basement room that I'll use for conditioning is where I store my grain. And I'm going to let it sit, since this is a lot of stout, and it will give me the opportunity to actually age and condition some and see how that turns out. So I'm excited about that too. Usually I end up drinking it all before I can really let it age and condition. But like I said, this is a lot of stout. So I will have that opportunity now. Thanks for watching.